wonderful friends, Cliff, Gordon, Albina from Kazakhstan, and Daryl Walker, you're there, my longtime friend from childhood and advisor. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to start, but I might want to ask you to make sure that you have enough room to stand up and move at least a little to the right and the left, because we'll start with the warm-up as we do in a design thinking workshop. So if you would do that and gather a journal if you don't have one near you already. Good, good. Warm-ups, physical warm-ups are especially important so that you can bring your full body and mind to the space, to the learning, and make a 2-foot commitment, as I would tell my teams, to your group. You see behind me my set for Screen 360 TV, and this is my thesis project at Stanford, which I designed and tested there. It's the evolution of the children's film festivals that I had produced. There are 4 children's film festivals in the Bay Area that I midwived into being, and I have continued with research and production. And what I'm going to show you here are a few clips from the research I was able to do thanks to Stanford and a DAAD fellowship that allowed me to gather evidence of the impact of international films on childhood autobiographical memory. So to understand how film memories could contribute to the global view of children who engaged early. And the first clip I'm going to show you gives you a sense of how important the Berlin Film Festival feels that children, whoop, let's go back. It's really sensitive. There we are. That, how important and the capacity which children have to engage with films from other countries.
Wann war deine erste Mal auf dem Berlinale? Deine erste Mal mit einem Film mit einem anderen Sprache vielleicht?
Für wen ist das das erste Mal, dass Sie in einem internationalen Film sind?
Ah, super.
For young children, it's quite possible that an international film, something that gives you a different perspective, for all the principles we know about memory, would be more memorable. It would be distinctive. Rather than the commercial, we tend to have, I think, the commercial movies tend to have a certain rhythm to them in the United States. They tend to have a certain plot line that kind of know where the laughs are supposed to occur. And there's a scriptedness to them that I think that doesn't make them as distinctive as they could be. So it would be interesting, I think, in the US to see reactions and responses to international films.
You got to hear my early German there too. This next clip is answering a question that you might have. How do children deal with subtitles?
At first, I only just kind of knew what they were talking about, since they were talking Dutch, then German on top of that, and then the English subtitles. But eventually you got used to it and you could understand really well, as if it were only one language.
Oh, and this next clip is actually from Felix, the namesake of the project. Felix was an 11-year-old boy when I met him as I was serving on the jury of the international jury at the Berlin Kinderfilm Fest. And he engaged me daily. He was always sitting behind us. He engaged me daily in his 3rd language. And he was very calm and curious and interested. And he struck me as the emblematic child who would benefit from international children's films. So I kept up with him. But then as he grew older, I lost touch with him, hence the title, Finding Felix. But you'll see here that I found him, and he told me exactly what I wanted to hear. how do you think maybe these films influenced your life?
And it gives you a feeling that the way you live isn't the only way possible, and that there are other ways to think about life, and even to make movies. And
in general, I think that international films will have an impact on the way children look at the world. Watching films like that, watching international films as the ones we are talking about, as they are shown at the Kinderfilmfest, I think definitely contributes to this kind of perspective, this kind of openness.
This project not only looked and found Felix, but also interviewed 12 young people who had grown up with the Berlin Film Festival and engaged with it deeply. And so this young man is now a doctor of philosophy and teaching in Berlin. And he had run a newspaper and was one of the first young journalists who continue at the Berlin Film Festival. So there we are. So the children's film festivals that I have produced all replicate the Berlin Film Festival's children's section. And I would say that it's the most replicated children's film festival in the United States. Interestingly, though, there are only 10 children's international film festivals in the United States. So we're looking at kids. Is it too late for us, though, to embrace the form? This opportunity where we have just come through an epidemic, a pandemic with the entire world, there's a lot of empathy in the air right now. And so this is the exact time to, instead of falling back into old behaviors that might be known and comfortable, it's a great opportunity to fall forward into aspirational behaviors that allow for innovation, like multidisciplinarity, accept all offers, trust. These are the things that we engage in improvisational theater and design thinking. So let's take this time as an opportunity to approach things in ways that we aspire to. Take a child's mindset and be open. So it is not too late for us. So let's try it for the first time. Well, not for the first time for you today. I'm sure many of us we may have been lucky to have had international films introduced to us by our parents or a friend or teachers, but I like to say it should not be left up to luck. This next film clip is called Fleegan. It's my first co-production with Germany, film for all ages. And I intentionally gave the viewer the opportunity to experience a moment of foreign travel, particularly because in attending the Berlin Film Festival regularly, I saw very little American participation. And both as filmmaker, as a producer, curator, I was often the only American there. And so here, while we watch this clip, I'd like you to put yourself in the role of Gilbert. Gilbert is a composer, an American composer. He's visiting a German colleague and his family and has stayed there for the night. And so take note of your sensations of comfort and discomfort. And I'm going to open this up.
Hey.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful.
Good morning.
I'm so happy for you. Oh. Morgen Metapora. Hat das noch ein bisschen Zeit? Guck mal, hier, Gilbert ist da. He's on his way to Helsinki for a new opera, and he's checking up on mine. Morning, Miss Metapher.
Bitte, bitte ein bisschen.
Okay, 10 times.
Papa's friend Gilbert had come to visit again. He was the one who'd brought me my pogo stick.
That's great. You know, 3 years ago she wouldn't even touch that thing. Not a single day without it. She's grown. Wow, Miss Metapher, you really fly up to the clouds, huh?
Yes.
Okay, Traumbericht.
Traumrecht!
Dream report, my dear Gilbert. Oh. We talk about them for fun, just to recognize any patterns. And JDC just read about this tribe in Indonesia who directs the tribe's daily plans by the dreams they've had the night before.
So I was having lunch near the river. Ich habe neben dem Fluss Mittag gegessen. And a boat full of people was coming towards me. Also ein Boot voller Leute kam auf mich zu. And when they come closer, als sie näher kommen, I see that they have no motor. Only people in the water are kicking and pushing the boat. Also ich sehe, dass sie keinen Motor haben. Nur Menschen im Wasser treiben das Boot voran.
So eine wundervolle Fantasie. Hi, Gilbert. Good morning.
Morgen alle.
Hallo. JDC, wie war dein Traum?
Ja, also in meinem Traum, da waren Hunde. Ja, eigentlich waren es nicht richtig Hunde, es waren mehr so Hundedinger. Und diese Hundedinger, die hatten riesige Nasenlöcher und haben total aus dem Mund gestunken. Also man konnte sie von Kilometer weiter Entfernung riechen. Die haben nach Futter gesucht.
Waren die im Wald?
Ja.
Dann habe ich von den gleichen Hunden geträumt. Wir haben gezeltet, es hat geregnet und man hat trotzdem diese Hundedinger riechen können.
Cool. Aber auch ganz schön gruselig, stimmt's?
Oh ja.
Oh yeah. Oh, JDC was in a forest, and there were these dog-like things with the big nostrils and really bad breath. You can smell from meters away. And Lisa just said that she had the very same stinkers in her dream, and she was in the same forest as JDC was.
Wow. And has this happened before?
Oh yeah.
Yes. The first time we had it was right before Elke was born. We were swimming underwater and suddenly a little dolphin swam alongside and nudged us with her nose. Yes, you sweetie. Hey, Metaphora. Metaphora, was hast du uns zu berichten?
Also ich bin über unser Haus geflogen und dann bin ich in eure Räume reingeflogen und habe euch da alle schlafen gesehen.
Wow, again? How did you fly this time? Arms out like Superman?
No, like a pelican. The side mostly. And float.
Oh, not fair. I never get to have flying dreams. And you've been flying a lot lately. Wonder what you're up to, Missy. The little trip flies.
Oh, flying dreams. Yeah, I have flying dreams.
How do you fly when you fly?
Well, I squeeze my muscles really tightly, and I squeeze, and I squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze until I lift off the ground, and then I fly.
Come on, let's take a walk. I want to show you a stork's nest on a rooftop down the road. Let's see if we can see her take off. Sehr spektakular. Kommt noch einer mit Storch gucken?
Okay, there we go. Welcome back. So, how did that feel? Let's open that up and talk about it. Let's discuss being Gilbert. Go ahead, open up your mics. So consider the words in the English vocabulary for the spectrum of social comfort between groups. I hope you'll agree with this. This is quite simplified, but on the negative side, we have avoidance, and we're experiencing that throughout the world. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Some might say now we're experiencing it more. In the middle, we're told tolerance, be tolerant, live side by side, but sort of parallel. And then there's love, which is a hot button word. It's too intimate, and we only go there with our friends, family, and not so often. So where would Gilbert fall along these lines?
And here, feel free to use the chat if you want to. I can read here from Kathleen says, I think Gilbert is tolerant, and we heard it also before in the comments. He certainly is tolerant and sitting there and is patient. Anita says she agrees with Kathleen, so like certainly like in the tolerance sphere. And Anita just followed up by saying that I think he was between tolerance, but not quite love. So it's like there was a little leaning to the right here. And just my personal impression was to say after the little girl started to perform a little bit, felt like the floor opened and he could perform a little bit himself. So he moved a little bit towards the right.
No, that's nice. So let me show you. Todd Patinsky is now at State of New York University, Stony Brook. That's where he is. But he had did his PhD at Harvard at the Kennedy School, and he offers us a new word for that in-between space, and I think it's well worth using. Allophilia means to embrace the other, and so that is embracing something and not necessarily appropriating it, which is something that we hear a lot of today, and it's frowned upon. This is an appropriation is taking something without permission in a way, and without proper appreciation and acknowledgement. So allophilia means to accept something and bring it into your lives, and something that wouldn't otherwise have been there unless you had this crash of culture that cinema can bring you or travel can bring you. In your journals, note a recent foreign experience that challenged you, and ask yourself, what would it mean to engage in an allophilic way? So take a few minutes to think about what that foreign experience that challenged you was, and then think about it again as in an allophilic way, and apply that frame. And of course, this could have happened anywhere, not necessarily on a travel experience, although when we're fully immersed in a foreign engagement, that's when a lot of these experiences happen. Okay, let's come back. And to break out into small groups, I'd like you to talk about how embracing an allophilic view might have changed the situation. We are at the last slide. And as you navigate the near and distant future, embrace the foreign. There is a unique knowledge created in the collision of cultures. It may be a little scary, uncomfortable at first, but it is a unique knowledge, and it is worth capturing, looking at it, understanding it, making it allophilic, and finding out, just one thing, and exchanging back. This is the beautiful thing of the gift-giving task that we do in design thinking, and coming up with a unique gift that is exchanged. And I see these cultural differences as gifts, really. They help us think differently. And that is the beauty of giving this gift of collision of cultures to children, so that they can engage in this thinking in and independent thought as well, and learn to discern much earlier on, and enjoy and engage and collaborate in the future. And so I hope this has offered you some fresh insights for innovation and for navigating the unknown, as the new world, as everyone is calling it, is soon to be. And I hope you've all been well, and thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to engage with you. And join us on Screen 360 TV 5 days a week, 9 o'clock, 10:30, and 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, which hopefully touches all parts of the world. That's the intention. So